couple so far on this trip, but unfortunately we've not quite backed them up. So we know it's only part of the job that we've got to do this week. It is a great day, so we'll let it all sink in the dressing room for an hour or so now after the game. Obviously, everyone's delighted for Cookie to get 100. But then we've got to come back tomorrow knowing that we've more hard work ahead.
No, absolutely. But from lunchtime yesterday to end of play today, it's like being on a different planet, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've played some really good cricket this trip. We've just not done it for long enough. And after the first session yesterday, I thought we worked out the pitch really well. Got some reverse swing, and we were just pretty relentless. And then we came today knowing that if we bowled the same as we did yesterday, we might get more wickets, bit more luck, which we did. We got 3 chop-ons, which is obviously you need that sort of luck in this game. But just delighted to bowl them out for 327, and then our batsmen gone out there with a real sort of positive mindset and done a great job for us.
Well, you've put a big smile on your mate's face. Not that it doesn't take much, but
I was going to say, Jimmy, I'm so proud because now you've got ahead of Courtney Walsh in the all-time seam bowling charts. You must be absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah,
we've got the actual wicket here. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it's not my best ball, is it? It's just that I think it's a really slow deck. Like, it's a really hard pitch to play cross-back shots. Not seen a huge amount of pace from that length, and it's just one of those things, isn't it? When it goes your way, then on another day it misses leg stump by an inch, and it's just the way it goes. But yeah, I'm delighted to have gone further ahead of you.
Of course, I'm looking up at Glenn McGrath.
And what about your mate Brody as well? Because obviously he's had a tough tour, wickets wise, but now he's had 4 today and bowled really well. Yeah,
delighted for Brody. I got asked last night in the press conference, how is he, and what's his hunger like for playing the game. And the way I've seen him work this week has been as hard as I've seen anyone work at their game. He's put hours of effort in the nets, working hard at his technique, his action, and pumping those legs, and he deserves everything he got today because he bowled brilliantly.
Oh, he's here. He can speak for himself. Hello, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I can imagine so are you, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, wonderful day, really.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He's obviously charging towards records, and have you? I don't know whether it's a monkey off your back, but have you put a few people right?
It's nice to take a wicket, I must admit. But yeah, look, things haven't gone particularly well for me this trip. I think Brisbane, I bowled okay, but Perth, I bowled really averagely. So it was nice to come back this week and feel in a good rhythm. I actually did work really hard leading into this Test match. I think in the few days off after Perth, you put your tin hat on and try and avoid the abuse, and then you sort of get your mind right and fresh. And I felt in a good rhythm today, particularly.
Yeah, I again don't know whether it's fair, but has that sense of criticism, whether it's been from Aussies, whoever, has that stung a response, or is it just hard work?
To be brutally honest, I've not actually seen much. Right. I've stayed away from it completely, which is a bit easier around Christmas. So yeah, I stayed away from the criticism, and I think when you play for a long period of time, you expect a certain amount of criticism, and then you build like quite a deep sort of inner self-belief in yourself, and you go back to sort of your basic principles and what's got you to where you are. So I had a good week doing that. So I trained really hard coming into this Test match, so it was nice to pick up a couple of wickets. But look, I think as a plan for the bowling unit, we got it right. We realised that reverse swing was going to be our biggest weapon, and patience, and it sort of proved that way.
Was it a big chat yesterday lunchtime? Because as you said, you came out and put plans into action that really worked. So obviously something clicked in the morning that wasn't right, and at lunchtime you changed something for the better.
Yeah, I think we bowled really well at David Warner this series, and we didn't. The first time yesterday we didn't get it quite right in that first session, and we discussed that and how best to go about it in the second session, considering the pitch that we've got in front of us. And we went heavily offside field and just tried to starve him of the ball. Let him, if he wants to try and hit the ball, then we're going to take it away from his eye line like we did there, and eventually he's going to nick one. So I thought the way we bowled went from him being on 96 through to 103. I thought we bowled fantastic.
Yeah, it was quite a lively 10 or 15 minutes there, wasn't it?
I've never heard noise like it. You know, the wicket and then no ball and then 100. It was obviously, as a part of the bowling unit, not very nice being out there, another batsman getting 100, but actually for the atmosphere it was pretty special.
No, indeed. And obviously you're heading towards a big number of test wickets. You're not far from 400. Jimmy's now obviously looking up at Glenn McGrath. So for all the chat maybe over the last few weeks of how good their pace trio are, maybe, you know, people can just calm down a bit. You two haven't done too bad.
We haven't too. We're better in English conditions, aren't we?
I was
all right today.
Once you got 4 foot and you know you're looking up there thinking, oh, I want 5 at the MCG, how disheartening is it to see Jimmy at the other end knowing that he's just going to go rabbit pie hunting and not let you have it?
You know, mate, Swanee, I just like getting off the field, don't I? But we've got the honours board in our change room. I think the last away 5 was 2009, which is quite a long time, really, for a test 5 between that change room. But we've got a chance second innings, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking with Jimmy about from lunchtime yesterday to where we are now, and obviously 3 days to go. Yes, the series has gone, but from where you were, this is uplifting. You've got a chance here.
Very much so. And look, yeah, the Ashes have gone, but every test match is vitally important. You can see the support we've got. You can still hear the Barmy Army going. You know, they're desperate to see England win away. They obviously sing a lot of that. So we're desperate to do something special for them as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd like to mention Alistair as well as Jimmy has. You know, again, like perhaps the bowling attack at times faced some fierce criticism, questions about his future. He's answered many of those. Yeah,
I mean, that was Cookie at his best today. You know, I think he's done quite a bit of work on his sort of mental attitude, and he was really positive today. And some of the stroke play was fantastic. You know, when he latches onto that pull shot and cut shot like he did today, that's him at his best. And the great thing about having him as your opening batsman is you know that he's not just happy with 100. You know, he's going to come back tomorrow and want to bat very big on that pitch, and let's hope he can do that.
Let's hope you're both resting for much of tomorrow and maybe beyond. Thank you very much for joining us so close to the end of play. Well done, both of you. Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Stuart and Jimmy. Really appreciate that. More reaction, of course, to come from here in Melbourne on a day, as you've heard and hopefully seen, that has gone very much England's way. Your mate Broadie just left.
The lifts were broken. I was definitely trying to come down. I was trying to get in on the conversation. Yeah. But look, what I heard from the conversation that he's just given you, said he worked harder. Yeah. You know, his paces have been that little bit higher in this test match, 3 or 4 miles an hour quicker. Came over the wicket today to the left-hander, so you know he's changed a few things, and you know he's a high-class performer, has been for many years. And whether a little bit of criticism kind of jeered him on, gave him a prod, only he knows that. But he's been outstanding in this test match.
So you're standing by your guns, and he's standing by his.
Well, that's fine. That's the nature of punditry. It's the nature of players. It's the nature of what happens in test match cricket, international sport. Delighted with the way that England have played today, more importantly. You know, the bowlers set it up with those 7 wickets in the morning. Had a bit of fortune with a few drag-ons, but, you know, the skill levels that England showed from yesterday lunchtime with that attritional bowling in the afternoon, you know, to get rid of Warner and then to do it again in the evening session, probably didn't get the rewards that they would have warranted yesterday for their efforts. They got all the rewards this morning, and then Alistair Cook came out with a different mindset to what we've seen in the first 3 test matches, and it's been a remarkable day for the England side.
Let's start at the beginning, Huss, for all the people at home, because you don't know how many times we've studied this series and talked about how to get Steve Smith out. And Tom Curran, after his nearly day yesterday, makes the breakthrough. Yes, it's a drag on, but who cares?
Yeah, I don't think England would have cared whatsoever. Just get him out any way you can. It's quite a slow pitch, and he got through his shot a little bit too early and chopped it on, and we saw that a little bit. And that was the difference between Alistair Cook and Steve Smith. Alistair Cook was playing with a straight bat all the time, but Steve Smith, mental error there, and it just goes to show he is human. It is the first time he's been out at the MCG for about 3 years, and more than 3 years, I think. Great reward for Curran. You know, he deserved that. He nearly had his first wicket yesterday, and I was actually really happy for him.
Were you?
I was.
Huss is one of the nice guys, trust me, he really is. Yeah.
But it's a great story.
Getting your first test wicket, and like when you think you've got it the day before and it's been wrenched away from you. This morning he even said, well, I've got the chance to get Steve Smith as my first wicket now. He's got that belief, that self-belief that his dad had. I played with his dad years ago. He's got that running through him. He's a fierce competitor, and I think that actually helped those 2 guys we just spoke to, Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad. Just that fresh impetus in the bowling attack. Well, this could have been.
Yeah, absolutely. On 99, you're thinking, this doesn't get much better. I've got him fuming walking off. And then the moment for both of them, batsman and bowler, when that happens, poor old Tom Curran's face falls like I don't know, a souffle that's gone wrong, and he turned round quicksilver fast, didn't he?
Exactly. But rather than feel sorry for himself, because he could have just sulked about it. He just said this morning, no, I'm going to put that behind me, I'll get Steve Smith instead, and he did. It wasn't the best ball in the world, but Sri and Botham's first wicket was a long up, dragged on by Greg Chappell, so who knows?
You don't care how you get Steve Smith out.
No.
You just want to see him walking back to the pavilion, and that was it was like the foil that made England kind of probably believe that they could bowl this Australian side out. As soon as you get Steve Smith, I think you can see from the way that the Australians bat that particularly when the ball's moving around a bit, I think England fancy it. As soon as the ball just swings just a little bit, you fancy going through this Australian batting line.
Well, and indeed, I think it wasn't that long later, it was 18 runs later, I think Mitchell Marsh falls, and suddenly the match is alive.
Yeah, almost identical dismissal, really. Yeah, Mitchell Marsh, well, a lot of the Australian players like the ball coming onto the bat and looking to be aggressive and play the big shots, and this pitch doesn't really suit that style of batting. And he got through his shot too early again, big inside edge, just went back and clipped the top of off stump, and disappointment for Australia. I think you called it at the start of the day, Vaughan. For England to get back into this match, they needed to take about 4 or 5 wickets in the first session, and it's exactly what England did, and that gave them some confidence, gave them some momentum, and they took that into the batting as well.
Well, in fact, I think I was had a lunch 5 for 13, and again, we've sat and stood here, haven't we, and talked about the clatter of wickets from England. Finally, we got one from the Australians.
I will never believe how this isn't given out in full speed. This is as plumb as you ever get, LBW. And England had to and ah whether to call for that on the review. They did, thankfully, and it was thumping into the stumps. But that was beautiful bowling, and then another chop on, showing how low and slow this wicket was going to be.
Yeah. To be honest, the look at times perhaps has gone against England. That's not making excuses, but if it's gone for them today, then maybe that was just desserts.
Yeah, they got the rewards for bowling nicely. I think for the first 3 test matches they got what they deserved because they didn't play well enough. Well, yesterday they did the hard yards, they put the ball in the right area, they got the tactics right, and they got their rewards for that kind of hard work today with a little bit of fortune. That's the nature of test match cricket. You do things for a long period of time, bowl for patience, you get these kind of moments where the outside edge start to get found, you get the odd drag on back onto the stumps, and you create a chance for your team to get right back in the test match by good disciplined bowling.
Yeah, line the last to fall. Jimmy, obviously that takes something to 520, doesn't it?
And he could have helped his mate Broady out and just bowled a foot wider off, so, but that's not Jimmy's style.
No. 5-2-1, I beg your pardon, he is now, well past, he's past anyway, Courtney Walsh, and looking up at Glenn McGrath's still about 40 odd in front of him, but who knows, should get there in due course. So there's the card, Hoss, and yes, of course, it's in the context of a series that's already been won, and there are players missing for Australia, but they won't be happy with that.
No, disappointing, actually, and coming in today, they would have been thinking, right, let's really bat on, let's make 400, 450 and really boss the game from there. But collapses have been a little bit of a problem for Australia over the last few years, and another one today, lost 7 wickets very, very cheaply, and it's something they've been talking about and trying to address, but it's reared its ugly head again today.
It's interesting, actually, when you look back, we talked again about Australia 12 to 18 months ago had a long look at themselves and have come out stronger. England backs to the wall here, 3-0 down, have, I don't know, found something from somewhere and played better.
Yeah, because the senior pros turned up. You look at Alistair Cook today, he's had no form up until today. Stuart Broad, no form up until this game. And the captain looked the best that he's looked throughout the series. Again, it looks to me like, Alistair Cook brought a different mindset, Stuart Broad brought a different mindset, the captain himself, when he went out to bat, brought a different mindset. And that can happen when you get pushed so far against the wall. You've got no other option but to change and to change your mindset. It's generally mindset rather than technique. I think that's what they've changed. I think Stuart Broad would have said it himself that, it's just a more of a positive look at, particularly Alistair Cook today. Looks to me, he got his stance and he was like, right, I'm looking at the ball to score. Throughout this series, it's looked to me like he's been looking at that ball to survive. Whereas today, he played one shot down the ground off Jackson Bird, a back foot punch. I've never seen him play that stroke. Yeah. So clearly, for me, he got a good pitch. I think the pitch was slow and it allowed him to not think about the short ball as much. I don't think that's going to be any kind of threat on this kind of wicket. No Mitchell Stark, obviously, is a massive advantage. But, it's just the mindset change, which you have to come out and change when you've been playing so poorly.
Well, it's interesting Michael mentions the senior players, because they have all sort of been counted today, haven't they? Cook and Root in the batting, but in terms of the bowling, we've talked a lot about Stuart. Jimmy was, as he is, pretty modest when he turned up to talk to us a few minutes ago, but just give us a sense of achievement from the fact that he's now heading for the leading pace bowler of all time in terms of test wickets.
Well, absolutely, and you look at those figures, and he's there because he deserves to be there. 521 wickets, that's an awful amount of wickets. 133 games. I can't tell you how hard it is to bowl fast, because I can't do it myself, but bowling spin for that many games would absolutely destroy me. And he's up there by merit. And you know, to have Glenn McGrath as the only other seamer in the history of Test cricket ahead of him in that list, that kind of sums up how great Jimmy Anderson actually is.
That's what I admire about it, is the longevity. You know, I know he's very skillful with the ball, and you know, especially in English conditions, he's a nightmare to face. Used to keep me up at night all the time. But to be able to back up day after day, test match after test match, keep putting in consistent performances, that's what I think the peers around the world would really admire about Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then they get to bat, and let's revisit that Cook innings, because you mentioned that he's struggled for footwork really for every innings really here, and yet something changed today.
Yeah, well, I think the footwork's not been there because the mindset's been negative. Whereas today he brought a mindset of, as I said, looking to score. Look at that, beautiful head back towards the ball, punching it through. That's that shot. That's the shot. The back foot punch down the ground. You know, he worked out on a wicket that's slow and low that you've got to play with the full face of the bat. He then started to pick up length very quickly. That was a great shot. That's the shot that Michael Hussey was describing about Steve Smith not playing with a 45-degree angle shot. Look at that. That's a David Warner style punt down the ground. We've seen many of those kind of shots in Australia from Alistair Cook, and he got a bit of fortune. Steve Smith dropped quite a simple catch at first slip off Mitchell Marsh.
It was simple, but that was the first time that Tim Payne has stood up to the stumps, the first ball. And as a first slip, you sometimes get closed off a bit. You don't expect it to come first ball. So it's actually quite a tricky one in the end. But yeah, Alistair Cook was magnificent today. Exactly that, the positive mindset that Stuart Broad told us. He'd been working on that in the week. This is the moment he brought up that 100 just at the close of play. Everyone wanted him to get there tonight. I don't mind admitting I jumped up in the air as well. So very happy, very proud of him.
Isn't it funny how when you've got that positive mindset, that's when you get a little bit of luck going your way. If you're in that tentative frame of mind and just looking to survive or hang in there or not getting the footwork going, that's when you get a freak catch or you get an unlucky decision. But as soon as you're positive, you get the luck going your way.
It's the old Gary Player line, isn't it? About the harder I work, the luckier I get, I guess. And he will have been presumably massively relieved to get there tonight. You don't want to be stuck on 95.
No, that's why I was surprised that Steve Smith bowled himself, because, you know, he might have got a Jaffa, but he doesn't bowl too many. If I'd have been Australia, I'd have just thrown it wide out as Austin and said twice to it, you're going to sleep on 90 odd not out. I thought Steve Smith went for the wrong tactic, and Steve Smith thought, you know what, I'll take a piece of that. And, you know, it was a wonderful innings, and just the mindset. And you look at the leading run scorers there. He's gone past Jar Wardener today. He's chasing down Shivnari and Chanapur. Look at those names at the top. Tendulkar, Ponting, Kelly, Travis, Sang. And also, you mentioned about the mindset. Batting is so much more enjoyable when you're actually looking to score. You know, it's very, you know, he's played 151 test matches. It just proves to anyone that you can get yourself in a negative mindset, and it just takes a little bit of a chat with someone to just produce a different performance.
And 32 hundreds, I think that puts him level with Steve Waugh. Can't see on the screen, but he's level with Steve Waugh, but into that illustrious list again of some of the all-time greats naturally.
Well, we've talked about it today from a bowler's point of view. When a guy is being positive, you stop thinking, how am I going to get him out? And your first thought is, how am I going to stop him scoring? And that's it may seem like a small difference, but it is a massive difference when you're bowling. If a guy's just looking to survive, it makes it very easy, because you know he's just going to sit in his crease and wait for one to get him out. And if he's looking to use his feet, get on top of you, it makes you bowl badly at him.
He's had a rough time since that big score against the West Indies, I think, in the summer. Was it 2-4-3? It's his first half-century, let alone century. Do you, sometimes as a batsman, because of what's gone before with the bowling attack, does that set you up mentally for the innings that you're about to play?
Well, I just wonder if this might kick-start him for another good run. I remember coming into the 2010 series, I believe he was under a bit of pressure coming in. He'd had another one of those dips, and he batted magnificently in Australia in that series. And sometimes you just need that one score, that one, oh, that's right, that's how I do it again. I need that positive mindset, and that can carry you on for a really good run. So I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this series off well and then continues the form on.
I think you said in commentary he's now got a ton at every of the major test grounds in Australia, so that's another one ticked off that he can tell the kids about in due course. And I guess also when he's going well at one end, it makes life easier for the skipper. He had to work hard initially today, didn't he?
Absolutely, but I thought he played beautifully, to be honest, Joe Root. I mean, he spoke before the game about the senior players stepping up, and more importantly for me, he spoke about how he thought he'd been playing well, but he hadn't been capitalising, been getting out. And today he looked determined not to get out, and he's only on 49 not out. But you see here, he's read his luck a little bit on the odd occasion, but he's played with, that was the one shot that made me lose sleep over this overnight. But apart from that, he batted beautifully, and he looks like he's got the bit between his teeth, and he's going to really go on and push on tomorrow, hopefully.
Jeffrey Boycott summed it up really well in commentary. He said he thought Joe Root was looking to score too quickly early in his innings earlier in the series, but today he gave himself time at the start, and he had to work hard early. He got in, he spent some time, he spent that good first half an hour getting used to the conditions, and then the scoring options really open up, and I thought he did that extremely well today, and also played very straight.
Yeah, it's his first innings 50, or he will do actually if he gets one more tomorrow. Sorry. Oops. Fingers crossed he gets there, obviously. And yes, he's had starts in second innings, but he hasn't converted. Hopefully tomorrow's his day.
Yeah, this is his chance to go big. Yeah, I think this partnership is what all England fans would have been hoping for at the start of the series. The combination of Cook and Root was the talking point going into the series. Can the experienced pair have really big series? Well, they haven't done, but this is the first time that this pair kind of went and spent a bit of time. There wasn't a lot of movement. I thought we were going to see a bit more reverse swing from. I wouldn't worry about this at all, by the way. No, Joe Root, when he gets runs, he has the physio out there more often than Gordon Greenwich. That's a good sign for the England team.
I was going to say exactly that. When he starts getting the physio out, it means that it's part of his mindset. His back starts saying it means I want to bat for a long, long time, get the physio out here.
He usually goes down on the floor and gives us a few Jimenez-style stretches.
Does he?
Yeah, that's a good sign. I wouldn't worry about that.
Checks at the trade house, eh?
Yeah, we had that with Justin Langer, actually. Every time he got hit somewhere, either it was in the head, we just lock him in for a double 100. So we're almost willing the opposition to bounce him and hit him in the head early. So, yeah, he's a tough character. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah. So let's put it in a little bit of context. Where is the match at? They still trail by 130 odd, so...
Yeah. Well, the match is, all the momentum is with England right now, and they do still trail, but they can't be thinking that. They can't be turning up tomorrow saying, we had a great day, but... That's not the way to think. You turn up and say, we had a good day and we're going to do it again today. This is exactly what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of men to come, a lot of men who've been in good form. I mean, Milan's coming in next. He's been in great form. Bairstow batted beautifully last week. Ali, we'll see how he goes. But the bowlers, and the fact that the bowlers have got a few wickets as well, don't be surprised if they don't chip in with a few runs. Stuart Broad's a bit like Mitchell Johnson. When he gets wickets, he sometimes gets runs as well.
I would think that the likes of Wokes, Curran, Broad and Anderson don't really put too much in the budget for Jimmy Anderson, but you have to look at the Australian attack that's playing this week. There's no Stark. This pitch is slow. I haven't seen a great deal today that will kind of be mysterious to a tail ender. They should be able to hang around on that kind of service. So England have just got to look to bat tomorrow out.
Let's tidy up the 2 wickets. Yeah, let's tidy up the 2 wickets they did fall. Stoneman and Vince. One perhaps more unlucky than the other. That one.
This was disappointing from Stoneman's point of view. He went down the wicket, chasses down the wicket, and he actually gets to the pitch of it, but then he just goes across the line. Once you get there, you commit. You either go over the top completely and hit it hard, or you hit it completely along the deck. And he didn't do either. It was a good catch by Nathan Lyon there.
And James Vince should have reviewed this, shouldn't he?
Well, he obviously didn't have any kind of feel. The one thing I'll say about James Vince, he's such a nice kid. So I've never known any great player, any good player, not have a little bit of a selfish streak in their mindset. Right. And he's fighting for his Test career. They've got 2 reviews in the locker. He's England's number 3. He's playing nicely. If there's a small glimmer that you think you've got an inside edge on that delivery, you review it.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the situation that James Vince is in, you review that situation. You saw Alistair Cook just kind of mimic to him. Did you get anything on that? And he says, no, there was 3 noises, pad. Very disappointing on his behalf because he was starting to look very nice again.
I've never known a batsman think he's out. I mean, either of these two would have been up like this straight away.
Yeah. So, why don't you give us an Australian sense of where the match?
Yeah, I've been listening to you guys. Listen how positive you are. It's nice that you've had one good day, but as Jimmy Anderson said, that's been the problem. We've had good days, had good sessions, but got to be able to back it up. So the Aussies, they'll go away. They'll be disappointed with the day. They'll regroup. They'll talk about a few things, get their plans crystal clear and fight back tomorrow. England are still 135 runs behind. Plenty of hard work still to be done. Expect the Aussies to fight back tomorrow.
Are we getting ahead of ourselves?
I hope so. No, I think, no question, England's day. They've played brilliantly. They deserve to be feeling happy about themselves, but that's what Test cricket's all about. You've got to back it up. You've got to come back and do it all again tomorrow.
England have had spells, and they've had parts of days. They haven't really had a day like this all series.
No, this has been their best day. It's probably come at the wrong time.
Yeah.
You look at Perth day 1, had a great day. Day 2, they got completely blown away, and that's always in the back of your mind in Australia when England come here over the last 2 or 3 tours, that you can have a good day and then Australia bounce back. I just don't think that the Australians have got as much in their armoury this week to be able to force England onto the back foot. No Stark's a massive loss. They'll have to find reverse swing. They didn't get as much reverse swing, so if they get it, they'll force a little bit of an issue with England, but England look very confident today. I expect them to be exactly the same tomorrow.